gonna snatch.
Engage Burnham.
I'm your new wingman.
We will win! Because we have...
Welcome to CommLink.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of CommLink Reacts. I'm Stubb, and as always, I'm joined by Silvius. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Getting closer to the weekend, so we're almost there.
Almost there. Exactly.
Almost there.
Yeah, looking forward to that as well. Also, looking forward to checking out Inside Star Citizen this week, where we're going to take a look at cargo and personal hangars and some exciting stuff coming for 323.
Yeah, when I was an elite dangerous player, the two main things I did was exploring and cargo. And Star Citizen has never scratched that. Well, either of them really, but more so with the cargo. You know, I've tried it. Not great right now. So
right.
Yeah, really hoping we get some cool stuff here.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Cargo sits at the very heart of the non-combat Star Citizen experience. And as it continues to evolve in the upcoming Alpha 323 and beyond, its next major evolution is less about the places you'll go and more about the ones you'll start and come back to. Now, hangars, whether they're persistent, instanced, personal, or staging, make up the next frontier of cargo gameplay. And we went to Chad and his team for an early look at where they're going and how they're progressing. Let's find out more.
I'm really hoping for like some good solid smuggle runs from Pyro to
ISCs
Stanton.
Before to talk about the new cargo and hangars features coming, but now that we're here and about to release things, we want to talk a bit about how that impacts your play experience, even if you don't care at all about cargo.
The production's gotten really good with this show.
Yeah, I really like their audio design.
So let's start with persistent hangars. What are they and what does that mean? So a persistent hangar is an instance hangar that is going to be assigned to you whenever you select your home location when logging into the game for the first time for a patch. When that happens, what we do is we determine the largest ship that you have and then entitle to you a persistent hangar that's of the size needed to facilitate that ship. Whenever you go into that hangar into the game, that hangar at your home location is
when you buy a bigger
your
ship?
hangar, and you'll be able to use it
the
like
same
your
thing.
home. You'll be able to keep things in the hangar. You'll be able to leave things around. You can invite friends in.
You have to redecorate?
You can treat
Hopefully
it
not.
like your own little oasis. So let's talk about for these personal hangars, how do you actually get into them?
Ooh. New mobile
You
glass.
can make a request via ATC for
look nice.
landing. And when we do that, we'll check to see if you have any personal hangars entitled to you. You'll be able to enter in using largely the same methodology that you do now, land, and then you can just hang out in there. As far as what can you actually do with your personal hangar and what kinds of things can you decorate with it,
Come chill in my hangar.
what we're going to do is allow you to call anything in your inventory up via that freight elevator. You can pick it up off the freight elevator either with your hands or using the tractor beam and just strew it about your location however you pick.
Cool.
It's going to be so great for like land vehicles.
We have the freight elevator kiosk, which has a brand new UI and inventory system to deal with large volumes of cargo.
You're going to have on the left-hand side a section that is showing the contents of the platform itself. And on the right-hand side, similar inventory layout with all your armor and weapons and items.
And then you decide what you want to spawn in the freight elevator. The freight elevator then comes up, and then you can start doing like loading and unloading of various cargo into your ship and so on.
If you're considerate about how you're loading things and you're trying to optimize your loading times, it'll give you a lot of power as far as, for example, making sure that certain kinds of things are front-loaded on the platform to make your multi-crew loading as streamlined as possible. And anything
Nobody's
that's
using
in your
those trolleys.
inventory, you're going to be able to call up.
Let's be
Some
real.
things you might have to put into an inventory container box. We're talking 8, 16, 24, even 32 SU size container boxes that you can put large items in. Now you can raise that up on the platform, including in collections, transfer that very quickly onto your ship, and then take them to another location.
Oh yeah, remember
In your
Caterpillar
personal hangar,
elevators?
you'll also have access to several other kiosks, starting with the item bank.
Which are another form of kiosk, which you could almost consider like a small freight elevator in a way, in that you can retrieve personal items such as clothing, armor, and weapons.
Because the item that's being delivered will be delivered in a tray that's in the same machine. So you interact that kind of like you interact with a loot box and you get that out. So no other player can actually physically get anything from your local inventory.
And these item banks can be found not just within the hangars, but also the wider location, such as your habs and other key areas of a location to retrieve your personal items.
Since you can't interact with your inventory anymore at any given time, it means like we need to have enough item banks around each location so you don't block each other from accessing a terminal, right?
It's just a quicker way
Really
to
happy
get
with what
a
they're
quick gun
saying
or
here.
a few meta pins or your armor without having to load it up from the freight elevator. And the last kiosk that I want to talk about is the ASOP terminal.
Which we have positioned in the hangar so you can request your ships from within the hangar and not just the spaceport.
So they will still remain in the spaceport. So if you don't have a personal hangar in your location, you can request your ship also from there.
What we're doing is we're changing the way that the ships spawn in the game.
You can now request your ships from within the hangar.
This is a pretty
and they will
big-
appear to you, but they won't
big
just come out of
change.
thin air. What
Yeah.
happens is the whole of the floor will open up.
You get this like amazing view of the hangar, the lights dim, the doors open.
And the landing platform will be rising up towards you, and your ship will be there.
And imagine that, but with
We
a
try to balance it in a
Cut a
way that
Rambler
it doesn't
instead.
take too much time for you, but also that it feels like it has the right weight to it, but also you don't have to wait for it too long.
So now
That
you
looks
have a
sick.
seamless transition
does.
and a realistic way of storing your ships away.
Additionally, you can do clever things like call up a smaller vehicle, such as a ground vehicle, drive it off, and then call up a larger vehicle. Then you'll have access to your ground vehicles without having to
Yeah.
go to another location.
yes.
You'll
thought
be
they
able
said that
to
wasn't
call
coming
up
in
multiple
323.
ships and maybe have one
Well,
person fly off with one ship, call another one, have another
maybe not
person
right
in your
away.
party fly up with another ship.
They did say it was going to
Or
return to
you
the
can
roadmap
just
soon.
call
but
up a ship,
who knows
change your
what soon
mind, and then
means,
call up a different
obviously.
ship without having to leave or anything like that. It gives you a lot of flexibility. And I can already tell what some of you are thinking right now. We're not going to let the system like eat your body and store it into the inventory or anything like that. We'll make sure to account for that such that if there's a blocking change that happens, we'll stop the process, go back up to the default state, and then tell the player about the issue so that they can account for it. If you do want to jump into the platform just before it closes and fall to your death, you can fall to your death if you want to.
Hell yeah.
So this is really cool,
I mean,
and we're
that's
really
awful.
happy to get this in. It's been discussed for some years now, and it's been a very tricky thing to fit in, and certain tech's required to be able to do it. You'd be able to have this hangar your own space and call your own ships and do a lot more within the hangar now.
Now that we're adding all of this new facility to the hangars in the game, allowing them to be persistent, adding these freight elevators, adding this ship platform, there's a lot of more things that we have to have in these hangars for them to be useful for what we're adding.
So the hangar sizes had to increase quite a bit. We did not want to do that originally in the beginning, but soon when we did prototyping, we figured out that not all the hangars, as at like the low-tech hangars in particular, are quite old by this point. Not all of them were to the same standards or metrics. So we figured that with the landing pad now going down, you had this gap for like quite some time before the doors close. So there was a very narrow walkway for the player sometimes. So we had to rejig some things and made it actually larger.
So the large and
Nice.
XL have had significant size changes. So the XL is about 20% larger, and the large is about 30% larger. So certain ships that were a little tight can now fit a lot more easily.
So you
That's
don't feel like your
fantastic
wings
news.
almost scratch the walls of it. So
Yeah.
it feels a bit more natural and better to the play experience to land in your hangar now.
Depending
that was
on the
always a
ship, it can
problem.
be
Medium
tricky.
is the same, but
yeah.
taller. and the small has not been changed. But we have classified ships to fit into the medium that were
we've all
once
lost a
classified as
wing
small.
or an engine
so
before
hopefully a
leaving
much
a
better
hangar.
player experience than there has been before. And it's been interesting to take the design of a elevator and the door and extrapolate that across multiple sizes. So in some cases you can kind of widen out the door and use the same shapes, and in some cases you need to think really about how those shapes work, and sometimes they don't work within a small door, for example, when it did work in a much wider door. So we've had to play around with that.
I like that hoodie.
And keep them looking consistent with each other, but also adapt those shapes to work for each size.
So this is an actualization of a long-term goal for this entire cargo career, to make the whole thing feel more real. It means that the whole experience is going to allow for manual loading. It'll also feel more rewarding because it'll give you more interesting choices to make
Discord.
throughout the process. It'll
Never
make
change.
multi-crewing a more interesting and useful.
Disconnected again.
Oh yeah. Rejoining the activity. YouTube's loading.
experience.
And I'm
It's
back.
going to just make the
There we
whole
go.
experience a more
Thanks, Discord.
skill-intensive and interesting and tactile. Another thing that we've talked about is automated loading in the games. This allows you to still do commodity trading without needing to actually move the boxes yourself. It will be an option in the commodity terminal. Whenever you go and you pick the destination inventory, you'll be confronted with several options. One is the location inventory. The next will be all your ships that are at the location. If you choose a ship, you'll have the option to have it be automatically unloaded or loaded for you, of course, with an added cost. The ship has to be stored to allow for the transfer, and it will be time locked while that transfer is occurring.
Because there's no NPCs moving
Different
that stuff around.
locations in the game will have
We gotta hide
different
that.
amounts of time.
Yep.
Places that are more optimized for trade are going to allow for faster transfer. You'll be able to still do the trading. You just have to wait a little bit and pay a bit more money, so your profits won't be quite as good in that case. Once the automatic loading process is finished, you can just go to the Ace Hub terminal in the hangar, access it, raise it, and go off, and you're on your way. If you care about cargo, this is going to be transformational. But even if you're not interested in cargo at all, it's still a foundational change for the game that fundamentally changes principles about inventory, physicality, and your play experience.
It changes everybody's
The work's
base of
ongoing.
operation.
We're nearly there. I think the team's
Yep.
done a great job on this.
Regardless
It's
of your
been
gameplay
tricky
loop.
to get it working as it should be.
It's a big milestone for the game that's been years in the making and coming. While I'm here to talk about it today, there's been a large number of teams across the entire company that have helped. Everybody from art, animation, VFX, through to all of the gameplay teams, engine teams. We've had a huge effort from Austin, Montreal, Los Angeles, Frankfurt, Manchester. It's been a big endeavor. So I want to thank everyone that's been helping to see this vision through, and I'm really looking forward to getting this into your hands so that you can play with it.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the days of big ships scraping by the edges of player hangars are almost behind us.
Thank
That
you.
you'll soon be able to spawn your ships and have them rise up directly into these newly expanded hangars. And that the freight elevators and item banks within will herald a new future of physicalized cargo loading that should have long-reaching ramifications for life in the verse. And of course, while everything you see on ISC is always an early work in progress, because of the dramatic and far-reaching effects these systems will have on all life in the verse, you can expect this work will continue to iterate and evolve from what you've just seen between now and its upcoming targeted release in Alpha 3.23. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
See what the
Pretty
outro
good.
is this week. Yeah.
Hi. We had a meme image for the end of the show. It's been our thing this season. This week's was a little too hot for TV. So we're going to put this week's image in your hands. I'm going to give you a frame, and you put whatever you want on here. There you go. And here's my face, knowing this is a bad idea. That's a mistake. It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
I've already seen some pretty good memes come out of that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. There's been some good ones floating around. So yeah, personal hangers. They look good. I'm excited for this. I think maybe my one sort of feeling about it from what we saw in the video was that, you know, the smoke and mirrors that they were talking about with the automated cargo loading. Maybe I'm expecting a little too much, but I thought for years now, like the talk had been, yeah, one day you'll be able to have NPCs load and unload your ship, and now it seems like it's just done behind closed doors.
Stubb, how many more years of development do you want to sit through? Is my question.
At least 2 more. It's always 2 more.
We got to get NPCs working in bunkers first.
Yep.
And not T-posing on chairs. So I'm not upset that it's behind closed doors. You know, we always knew it would be a timed process.
Yeah.
If you're not manually loading it yourself, and like, while it would be cool to see the NPCs going back and forth loading stuff up, like, I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to sit there for 15 minutes and just watch a bunch of NPCs load my ship. So
Yeah.
I'm not really upset. It's behind closed doors or whatever. I kind of assumed it would be that way. Maybe in the future, once we have like NPC crews and, you know, actual functioning AI, maybe then. But until then, yeah, I don't mind it being a, you know, timed thing behind closed doors. You pay a little extra money, you can go do something else while it's being loaded.
Right.
I thought we were going to hear a little about the new cargo missions coming in this episode. I didn't know it was going to be just persistent hanger information, but it all looks really good. And yeah, the one question I had was, what happens if you buy a larger ship than what you already own? And obviously, I know it's not coming in 323, but it would be nice to be able to either move your personal hangar to another location or pay a rental fee for a personal hangar at a space station, other than whatever you choose as your home. But other than those two things, yeah, and we're not sure if it's coming with the ground vehicle loading yet, but man, it looks really cool, and I've always wanted some place in Star Citizen to, you know, go back to and like set stuff up and decorate and just keep all your stuff, and instead of your ship that can get blown up at any time, you know. So that's going to be cool, and yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. Another, I think, bright spot for 323, the persistent hangars.
Yeah, and the couple of little UI things we saw in there looked good.
Yeah, good looking screens. The new Moby Glass looks real sharp as well. So, yeah, I'm happy with all the visual stuff as far as menu and UI and all that stuff goes that they've shown with 323 personally. Yeah, I was
going to say I was a little concerned at first, you know, when we first heard about these. I think we had this discussion on one of our podcast episodes, but, you know, what would happen if somebody else, you know, they're getting rid of the hit your eye key and all your inventory comes up. So how are people going to get their personal items if you're going to somebody else's personal hangar or whatever? But those kiosks placed around looked like a good solution for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hope that that those are able to make it in time for 323. The unique item recovery they recently said is going to miss 323. And I want to know more. So what role that'll play with the item banks, but I guess we'll find out later.
Yeah, I think they had to take that off the roadmap yesterday. So, which it's something we've seen before and it's gone away. So who knows when it'll be back.
Exactly. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with how these things are shaping up. Looks good. I hope they're able to fully commit it for 323.
Yeah, it looks pretty promising. So, just having somewhere to go. I mean, even, take the Vulture out and go salvage, and then you can bring it back, store it in your hangar, and then save a whole C2's worth and go sell it wherever. But yeah, it's going to change a lot.
Yeah, I didn't even think about like using it as a means to stockpile from a Vulture and then load everything up onto a larger ship for a sell run.
Yeah, stockpile.
It's good.
Lots of things. I guess you can invite people to your hangar, so you could almost open up like a personal shop in the hangar, and pull stuff up for people to buy and just hoard all your stuff there. Keep a bunch of drugs there. You go collect at all the drug labs and then make a big run with it or something. But yeah, there's lots of cool stuff you can do with it, I think.
It's going to have to tide me over until the Merchantman comes out.
Yep. Just
all right, everybody.
2 more years.
2 more years. That's it for this React to ISC. Again, thought it was a really, really good one. ISC's been on a roll lately, leading up into 323. So yeah, a lot of fun. It looks sharp. I'm ready for personal hangers. Bring it on. Maybe we'll be able to get our hands on them in PTU like in the next week or 2. Maybe
that would be nice.
Be real cool. All right, everybody. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more reaction content from us. We do Star Citizen and Squadron 42, pretty much everything here at CommLink. In addition to the reaction videos, we also have a podcast that we release weekly onto YouTube and Spotify. CommLink Podcast is what it's called. And in addition to that, we also have the CommLink Alert as well, which is where major articles published by CIG on the Star Citizen website, like a monthly report or a letter from a chairman, a ship Q&A, those sorts of things are read aloud for those who would rather hear it than read it. And I think that's about it, bud. There we go.
Yep. Thanks, Stubb.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you. Always thank you. Thank you, Jared. We love you. All right, everybody. Be safe. Be well. See you next time.
See ya.